The first story we're going to talk about, and I can't believe we're actually talking about it. It's 2024. Why are we still talking about that? What are we talking about, Chris? We're talking about Ghostbusters 2016, or as they call it, Ghostbusters Answer the Call. So, director Paul Feig blames backlash on the political climate of the time. Claims critics were Trump supporters. A lot of people didn't like this film. You know what? Let me go down to it because I got a picture here. You know what? What's her name? Kate McKinnon. She's a lesbian, but I dig her. I think she's great, and I wouldn't kick her out of the sack. Kristen Wiig, yeah, I'd holler. Melissa McCarthy, I ain't gonna lie. There's times where I go like, I could see that. Okay, but yeah, Leslie Jones. I've never seen or heard Leslie Jones be funny ever, or a good actress in anything, from Coming to America 2 to this. And I have seen both of them, so I can like actually have a say in the conversation. I'm not just, hearing somebody else criticize the films or whatnot, but I've actually watched it. I'm like, I don't see the appeal. And it's not even just like an appearance appeal, kind of like, ooh, she's good looking. No, just, I don't think she's a good actress, and I don't think she's funny. That's neither here nor there. If you have a good movie with a good script and good stories and good characters that you develop and everything, you could do anything with it. It could be fantastic, even with, piss poor actors or whatnot. We've seen it in movies back in the 80s that, cheesy cult classic movies that we just love. They were well done for the most part. Maybe the acting wasn't great, but you know what? We look past that sometimes. It's that suspension of disbelief, right? So anyways, let's scroll back up here. So Paul Feig, this dude, I've only seen him in a couple things where he played like a super nerdy nerd dude, and it's very suiting of him. But this dude, he is the whiniest man. We're going to talk about masculinity in just a minute. It's just... I don't know, but I can't remember if there's a picture of him in here or not. If not, I will throw one up on the screen just so you guys can see who we're talking about here. But just kind of scooting through it. This is from Bounding Into Comics. It says and yet again, and again, this is not an old article. This came out September 27th. September 27th. Of a movie from 2016. If my math serves me correctly, that's 8 years ago. Okay. Anyways, and yet again attempting to blame, I feel like there's a typo there, or bad grammar, or I'm just an idiot. It can be all of those, just to be fair. And yet again, attempting to blame the film's failure on the undefined specter of bigotry. Ghostbusters Answer the Call director Paul Feig, I can't remember if it's Feig or Feig, sorry, I think it's Feig, has claimed that not only was the backlash to his all-female franchise reboot a result of the political climate of the time, but many of those were unhappy with the film were unabashed Trump supporters. The reboot director offered his latest reflection on this discourse surrounding his 2016 box office bomb, and it was, while answering a handful of fan questions as submitted to him by the readership of UK news outlet The Guardian. In conclusion to his Q&A, Feig was met with the inquiry, why did you make 2016's Ghostbuster a full-blown reboot that ignored the original films? To which he explained Bill Murray had publicly said he didn't want to do another Ghostbusters at that point. Harold Ramis had died. That's a fact. Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson were there, but half the team felt weird. It had been 30 years, and Bill and the gang were so iconic, they didn't want to do anything to hurt the original movies. So instead, you rebooted it, completely ignoring it. And rebooting it, I mean, they didn't even try. I'm sorry. And I've got my own take on today's comedy. And in fact, that's going to be part of Monday's show. We got comedian Chris Clark on there, like I was mentioning earlier, and we may have another comedian on there. Fingers crossed. Would really like to have him on there, but comedy has changed. from what it was to what it is now. And it hasn't changed in a great way, in my opinion. And I think that's a large part of this. We'll get into that later. All right, so the question itself now answered. He completely of his own volition then turned his attention to discussing the film's poor reception. The political climate of the time was really weird. With Hillary Clinton running for office 2016, said the Bridesmaid director, there were a lot of dudes. Bridesmaids? My wife likes that movie, I want to say, and I think I watched it with her or part of it with her. It was actually kind of funny. Some of those actresses I don't particularly think are funny. But again, that's one of the situations they were put in a pretty decent film, so I could overlook it. You feel me? I feel like we use the same actors and actresses all the time, and like, be funny, be jokey, and they just can't. They just can't in every film. They got to have a script. But I thought this was pretty funny. I remember some specific scenes that had me laughing. But there were a lot of dudes looking for a fight. When I was getting piled on Twitter, bet he liked that, I'd go back and see who they were. So many were Trump supporters. Then Trump came out against us. He was like, they're remaking Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford. You can't do that. And now, this is a terrible Trump impression, by the way. I'm not trying to do that. And now they're making Ghostbusters with only women. What's going on? And got all upset. Everybody went effing cannibal. Here's the thing about this, man. I'm gonna go ahead and just stop right there because I get so irritated with all this. But yeah, I mean, we went through a period where, and still going through it, to be fair, we're race swapping, gender swapping, basically doing everything to pull white people out, especially white men of films. And I say that again, as a filmmaker, as a film connoisseur, as an artist, it doesn't make sense. Okay. I get that maybe the studios and maybe these people that are all tied into the elites and everything are trying to make a political statement here and trying to show more equity or whatever. But you lose so much in translation. And I'm just saying that again as kind of a storyteller here. Like, why are you doing it just to do it, or does it make sense? Like in horror films, one of the creepiest things that you can do is put a kid in a horror movie and something happened to that kid. They get possessed or they get stalked or something. That makes sense because it affects us differently than if it's an adult. Look at The Exorcist. It was a kid and it was a girl. It hits differently. If you just gender swap something that's already established for no reason, it's clear what you're doing, and you've already going to have some haters on your hands, even if it's great, because we're tired of it. We're tired of it. Nobody cares if you have a strong female-led film. We enjoy strong female-led films. I can't count how many times. Again, I mentioned them on the Morning Mayhem, or not the Morning Mayhem, Monday Night Mayhem last time. The Talking Nerds. And we all watch the same folks. Talking Nerds, Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kennel, Young Ripa, Silverback, can't think of his name right now, Az from Hill vs. Babyface. I mean, everybody has been very clear about this. We don't care if there are strong female leads in the movie. We don't care if it's an all-female film. Just make it good. Just make it good. We don't want bad films that are all male films, all white male films. We want good movies. As an independent filmmaker that has zero money, zero budget, me and my friends, we get together and we do the best we can. You guys have billions of dollars and are just pissing it down the drain, trying to make some kind of political statement. These studios are losing so much money. In fact, I think it was, what was Ghostbusters? I think that was Sony. I won't be able to find it right now, but I think it was Sony. And they said that Paul Feig would never work for them again. Something along those lines. I could be misquoting it, to be fair, but I want to say it was something along those lines because he lost them so much money. And he did. The only guy that was relevant in the movie was Chris Hemsworth, and they turned him into a bitch. And that's what they do in these films. And for those of us that see it, we are seeing it far too often. Far too often. You are ruining cinema by trying to do this crap right here. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and you're doing it the wrong way. And Paul Feig, just go on, dude. Make something else. You've clearly got talent and skills, and you can make something that's funny and enjoyable and can find its audience. I'm happy for you. Go do it. Quit rebooting and ruining franchises that are established and loved. You guys are idiots.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.